Welcome to Don't You Two Read, a podcast where two sisters talk about all things books.
We're just two girls who found ourselves texting about books on a daily basis and thought, why not turn on a mic?
We'll be talking about our recent reads, a weekly bookish topic, and what we're looking forward to reading next.
So grab a cup of coffee and maybe even a snack and be prepared to take down your TBR and add a lot to it as we talk all things books.
Hi, I'm Hilary, a mom in Oklahoma, and I am fully in the spooky reading season.
And I'm Hannah, a stay-at-home mom in Texas who has so many books that I want to read this week.
This is episode 13 of season 1, and welcome. We're happy that you're here. Today, Hannah and I planned something a little bit more lighthearted and funny, hopefully. We're going to be talking about 1-star reads. So basically, we each picked like a list of each other's 5-star books, and then we're going to read 1-star reviews of our favorite books. So that's coming up in a few minutes. But Hannah, how has your reading week been?
It's been good. I feel like even when the books haven't been like all 5 stars, I've still been enjoying them. So I'm in a good streak right now, and I've had several in a row that have been really like heavy and sad, but I still like them, which is good. But
That is funny for you. I think
I
that
know,
I feel like that's so opposite.
I know, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just my mood. But I've been really enjoying the ones that I've been reading. But I am ready for a happy, light book next.
Yeah, so like I said, I am like fully in spooky reading. Um, that's because okay, so for it's kind of weird because it's like I live in both current time and in podcast time. So our fall reads just launched, right? Yes, that
Yeah.
just launched, like our fall recommendations. But Hannah and I next week are recording our spooky recommendations. So the stuff for your October reading and Halloween, that kind of stuff. And so I have a bunch on that list, but there are a couple I wanted to get in, like 3 more I wanted to try to get in this year just before we put that out. Obviously, I can't get everything in. Some stuff will just have to be bumped to next year, I guess, but I'm trying to get some stuff in that I missed last year.
I also think like if you had stragglers here and there, like we can still we
Yeah, as,
still
like,
have
current reads. Yeah.
yeah, we still have a few weeks before that would be irrelevant to the rest of the world.
I know, that's why I'm like, we live in podcast time
Yeah.
and real time. It gets very I feel like when I'm Back to the Future. I'm very confused always of
Mm.
what's going on at whatever point. But but it's good, like, I feel like Oklahoma has it's not cool, but for Oklahoma, we're in, like today was, like, 82, so much cooler than it has been, and then I have some tea right now, so I'm getting myself in I'm reading I know we didn't call it the short list, but we said it was like a fall TBR, so I'm gonna add it to my short list, when we do that that
Yeah.
episode. But
Um,
I am reading The Haunted Ever After by Jen DeLuca, so I'm like 30% into that.
I I was gonna say really quick that today I was thinking, oh, it feels like fall. Like I had my sweater on, my sweatshirt, and like it felt really cool. And then I went to go look at what it is. The real feel is 89 degrees.
Yeah,
But
I
I
should see
did
what mine is right now.
I did feel like it was so much cooler. We actually had a breeze
Yeah,
and
I told Taylor that yesterday. I'm like, "This feels like a crisp breeze." He's like, "This is not crisp." And I'm like, "Well, it's crisper than
it
normal." Yeah,
felt,
it's 8 PM right now, and we are at 76.
hey,
So
yours is not bad.
no, our humidity's at 70%. So that's kinda nasty, but you know what? It's better than it has been. So that's why I'm like, "Nope, in my mind, good enough for now," and we are shifting into fall. We're done with the summer reads. I'm done. Whatever I haven't gotten to, we'll just have to wait till next year.
I am like still reading summer reads right now, and like I don't know. I said there was a fall book I mentioned that, or spooky book. I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to do that." And then I'm like my mood has already changed. I'm already like, "Nah." And then I did consider trying to squeeze Frankenstein in cuz I that's been a process. I've started it last year, stopped it, and I just really want to read it. We'll see. We'll see, guys. I'll try. But yeah, apparently my mood has not been mooding for spooky books.
You've been liking what you but okay, but this is my normal mood. This is my normal mood.
That's the problem. If I try to force like Frankenstein, then I'm like, that's the last thing I need because then I'll go and
Yeah,
then
you
be
hate
all
it.
like two star, two star, two star, two star. So anyway, I started Frankenstein, but it was so like dense, like Joshua, not like Joshua, like his like his taste in books. I was like, back up, back up.
Well, I have a book next week about based off of Frankenstein, so maybe you
Yes,
can just read that instead.
I know.
Do it and say that you read Frankenstein, so it's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess we can start talking about what's been going on. Our 1-star books or our 5-star books. And so I thought we could just like say what the book is, read the review, and then the person that loves that book can respond if that person
Yeah.
wants to. Okay,
Okay.
you can go.
A rebuttal.
Yeah,
Okay.
a rebuttal statement.
Okay. So for Hillary's, and these are in no particular order. Literally, I just went through Hillary's Goodreads. I found 5-star books and picked from there. Okay. First pick, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. All right. I have three. Here we go. I think I deserve a sweet treat for finishing this book because it clearly should have been a DNF. I read the phrase I laughed like 50 times, but never laughed once. Also, if I read or hear anything about someone feeling small or getting small or being small ever again, I am going to combust. Okay.
You
Next. If you're looking for a cure for insomnia, congratulations, you have found it in these pages. And lastly, what in the trauma dumping was this?
That's it.
Yeah. And this is a comment, me and Hilary were talking about this earlier last week. People, like a lot of the 1-star reviews on Goodreads are either like ridiculous to be funny or they are DNFs. And I purposely found 1-star reviews. There's a few exceptions, but I found 1-star reviews from people who said they finished it because I just feel like I value their opinion a little bit more. People who literally would be like, I read 10 pages and DNF'd, and I'm like, nah, I don't really care what you have to say. So that's my standard here. Okay, so that's Just for the Summer.
I think that's funny because um okay. I obviously disagree because I love that book, but I think it's funny because I kind of get it too, though, like the trauma dumping. I did say that in my review. Like, it's
Yeah.
funny because our friend Brittany just texted us was it today?
Yeah.
Yes, it's been a long day. It's today about how she is reading Just for the Summer. And every time someone reads a book that I am like, I love this book, and they start it, that's why I'm very hesitant to be like, you should read this book because
Yeah.
everyone's different. But then anytime someone starts a book, I'm like, oh no, like,
Mm-hmm.
are they going to be like, this is trash, Hillary? Like, or this is so gross, or this, I don't know, something. I always worry that they're just going to
Hate it.
hate it. But um, I can see that. That's one element of this book I could see people not liking is the mom.
Mm-hmm.
What's her? I don't remember the people. I don't remember names very well, guys. Um, the girl's mom.
Mm-hmm.
She was so bad. Like
Yeah.
very extreme bad. And then there's a villain. I don't want to say it because it's a spoiler for other books, but a villain makes a reprise in the book, and that bothered a lot of people too. And then the guy's mom, is it Justin? Yeah, Justin's mom,
Hmm.
she had a lot of problems too. Like, she was going to prison for something. It was a drama. It was a lot
It's
of drama.
so weird though because the one-star reviews, I mean, and this would be probably for five too, but like the one-star reviews are so polarizing. Like you had a ton of people who would say, this is not like any of Abby's previous books. And I would disagree because I do feel like it was romance and I do feel like it was heavy. And that was something else people said. They were like, this is a dumb romance and it's not heavy. I'm like, but then you had opposite who said, this is not a fun rom-com like her other books. And I'm like, I would not say her other books are fun rom-coms any.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, here I go insulting people. But I'm like, what? Like, did we read the same book? Because I don't. You're entitled to your opinion,
I would
but
not say her books are rom-coms, like a
no.
romantic comedy.
Or
No.
like light. I would not say any of her books are
Uh-uh.
light.
No, I
But
wouldn't say they're heavy. Like I think you're gonna have a happily ever after.
you're in the romance genre. So, like, if that's what makes something light to somebody, then okay.
I am waiting for her, Abby, to have a book that does not have a happily ever after
I
because I
know.
could see it be a
She could.
possibility.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would see her do
And it
that.
still be like a good book. So anyway, I could see what they're saying, but my argument is that you're not right. But no, I can see it. If that bothers you, I can see you not liking that. But we've talked about this with other books. I still have not brought an Emily Henry book to the show. You have. I've heard someone mention that Emily Henry, like, I forget the term that they use, but the characters use each other for therapy,
Mm,
like to get better, but they never actually get real help ever.
yeah.
Um, I don't know if that's actual, like, I have to go through all the books and look again, but Abby's books, I believe, are not like that. Like, they do
Yeah.
actually go to therapy. They do have outside friends that speak wisdom to them.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like it's different. Now, if they were just running amok and then they're just like, no one's gonna tell me I'm wrong and I'm gonna do what I want, then I guess
Yeah.
that bothers me more. But if you have people that are like, hey, dude, you're wrong, and eventually they're like, yeah, you're right, then I'm more okay with the drama, the tea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm scared.
So my first book for you is The Golden Goal by Anna Conwell.
Oh no.
I don't know how many of these have a special place in your heart, so I'm
And
sorry.
and also the disclaimer, if you are an author of any of these books, these are not our thoughts. Remember, these are books that we rated 5 stars. So that's the
Yeah, Anna,
disclaimer.
I'm sorry. I
I
just
know.
randomly chose your book. It spun and it was your day. Okay. The Golden Goal by Anna Conwell. Okay, this is a review from Lizzie, and she says, if this isn't enemies to lovers, then my name is Steve. I was like, I had to include that one because I was like, what in the world?
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything to say. I
That's
mean,
hilarious. I was like,
whatever,
that's
man.
funny. That's going in.
Lizzie,
Yeah.
goodness. Okay.
I was like, I'm just gonna start using that for everything in everyday life. Like, if
Yeah.
this is nice weather, then my name is Steve.
Okay, for Hillary's
Okay,
second book.
wait, I have another one.
Oh, I said
That was I have
I
a second
said
review.
okay. Go ahead.
That was all for Lizzie. This is another one.
Oh.
Okay. This is like one that I felt like was legitimate, like a legitimate complaint. That's why I just thought the other one was funny. This girl, Hannah, which is not this Hannah, I guess, says, good banter, but definitely underwhelming in the spice category. romantic and cute, gross. Super cool. Super quick read. Book talk failed me on this one. So would you like to comment on that?
I mean, wow. So, yes, I think that's accurate. I think it was romantic. I thought it was cute. It was a very quick read. So, all of those things I do agree. And as far as, yeah, if you're looking for an open door book, you're not going to find it here because this is a closed door
I
romance
feel
and
like that was her main complaint, was
yeah,
that it
and
was a closed door.
it's not edgy either. I would say it's just, and it's a sweet book. I liked it.
I thought this was a good example, though, of how a one-star review could be like, okay, I like those things, though. So
Yeah.
it doesn't mean, like, I thought she was, it's funny that she said that, but it was enough in a way that I'm like, okay, you can see if you like, I like, short, quick reads, and I like
Yeah.
closed door.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
So
mean,
I thought
she's
that was,
right.
yeah, yeah. So, but I thought it was funny. She's like romantic and sweet, gross.
Goodness, yeah, get out of here. Okay. Hillary's book 2, Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli.
I almost picked this one for you too.
This was hard because there were so many one-star reviews and a lot of them had spoilers, so I just had to pick ones that didn't. So I have several. They're all short though. So here we go. Tom and Jerry, but in a different font.
No, it's not Tom and Jerry.
Okay, next. Why do I do this to myself? Next. Tell me the truth. Was this written by AI?
What?
And
No.
lastly, to sum up my experience, I have way too many questions, but don't care enough to even want the answers. There was also someone I don't have it here, but they were so angry and they had it was long. They're so mad. And she was like, if this doesn't have a sequel, if this doesn't have a book 2, this is the dumbest thing I've ever read. And I
Are
was
you kidding
like,
me? They said that from day one.
yeah, I was like, well, sounds like you are the problem.
And I bet she'll go on to read book 2 and be like, this was unnecessary. Um, I think that I get it. I get people not liking it. That's fine. I mean, I don't understand because I loved everything about the book from like the first page to the last page. I never felt bored or but to call it Tom and Jerry is wild to me. Like, literally, like, this is like Tom will, like, hit Jerry with an anvil, you know, and he'll be, like, flat as a pancake and then jumps up again. I don't know. I just don't see the like, I don't think anything about this book is silly or funny even. Do you? I don't think it's
No,
at all.
no, I don't understand.
Maybe, like, I did call it cat and mouse in my review. I did.
No, but they have that on the synopsis, so maybe they thought that was funny. I don't know. I don't know. I was
I
just
mean,
like,
like, it means you're
oh,
trying to seek out your prey, but whatever, it's fine.
yeah.
Like, it's
Okay.
fine, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Hannah, the second book I have for Hannah is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This was an older one for you.
Mhm.
First one. When I die, I want Christina Lauren to lower me into my grave so they can let me down one last time. Okay. And I'm like, hey, if you hate Christina Lauren so much every time, maybe you should stop reading their book. But whatever. Anyway, by the way, I also rated this one 5 stars. This was like one of the first rom-coms I think I've read in
Mhm.
the, I think. Okay, the next one for this book. Few books make me want to roll my eyes this much. Flat characters, flat banter, flat world building, flat enemies to lovers, in quotes, if you can even call it that. The whole story is pretty much in the synopsis, and that's it. That's all of the story. Everyone at her sister's wedding gets sick, and she has to spend 10 days in her sister's honeymoon with her arch nemesis, which leads me to my next problem, the supposed enemies to lovers. The enemies to lovers felt extremely forced. I figured they'd have a better reason to hate each other, but they don't, like at all. They have no reason to hate each other. It was exhausting to read about them hating each other. Exhausting. Honestly, it was so petty. Also, their banter was boring, and what they called arguing was surprise, not arguing. And the humor, was that supposed to be funny? I think it's pretty clear that I hated this.
Wow. It makes me
I
wonder.
will, one thing I will throw a bone for this person, I'm gonna comment on Hannah's, is I do think I do think part of their conflict was a misunderstanding or
Okay, but
miscommunication.
are they not all misunderstandings? Like everybody says, I hate
Yeah,
misunderstanding
yes,
trope.
yeah.
Most and everybody loves enemies to lovers, but I'm like they are misunderstanding trope. It's the same. You just call it something different.
Unless you're talking about, like, in fantasy where it's, like, li or, like, Heartless Hunter and where you're like, "No, they understand,
Mm,
they just wanna kill you."
yeah.
But
Or like
other
you're on
than that
different sides of the war, or like yes, no. Uh,
but, like, in real world, current
I mean,
times
but I think that it made sense though. Like I don't. I've read this book twice, and I remember, I don't want to go into all of it because I don't even know if it's a spoiler, but like it's realistic to me in the sense of like, is that not real life? Where like
yeah.
you get like a bad vibe of someone, and you're like, well, they looked at me funny. And it's like, what do you mean they looked at you funny? Well, they just gave me a look. Like, I mean, is that not realistic? I feel like it is. And then it just goes from there of like, now you're off put, and then you're probably giving them, attitude. I don't know. I was fine with it. I thought that book
I
was
thought
so
it
funny.
was good. I thought the banter was good. I remember that in particular being what I liked.
Yeah, I thought I love that book, and I read it and then saw like so much criticism. Like to this day, I see so many people who are like, no, mm-mm. And I read it again recently and I still loved it. So I'm like, I don't, I just,
I honestly think that people nowadays want, um, the love interest to, like, slap them around.
uh,
Like, they're like, "That's a true enemy, is someone
yeah,
that's gonna beat me up."
that's a whole
And
other
they're like, "No,
problem.
this is just, like, they misunderstood each other and don't like they're annoyed with
And
each other."
and as far as like, oh, everything I need to know was in the synopsis. Is that not every romance?
You're like body language, you're like
I also it makes me feel like very aware of like we could read my 1-star reviews from like the last few years and I would feel like I would look like an idiot also. So, okay. Next, Hunger Games. I think this is the longest one I have, but I'm reading all of it. Here we go. 1 star goes to the agent of Suzanne Collins. For the book itself, or what is a sorry excuse for a book, I will give it 1 dying star. And because reviews are biased, I am not apologizing to anyone by saying this book is ridiculous. I can't believe people are hooked to this. The major turnoff for me was the writing. It was worse than reading the nutritional facts of a canned tuna or the side effects of a pill. The plot would have made a good movie, I'm sure, but because the writing fails to stir any excitement, it was lost on me. Also, I did not think the plot is original. Why? Because I've seen too many movies just like this, only this has a different version. But I did manage to trudge my way through the first book. I bought this in a box set, sadly, and after finishing the fifth book,
there it is, all I need to know.
or rather, after finishing, okay, so finishing this book, or rather griping to finish it, I let the other 2 books rest for a while. After 3 days, feeling refreshed, I came back to the second book and thought I better read this so I can get my money's worth. But no, I had to do myself a favor and just shut it. For those who like it, to each his own.
I don't know, I feel like that's the first book especially is probably one of the better books ever written to me, especially for that age group. Okay, but one thing, Katniss is a little annoying, so I mean, I get that, but I don't think the writing's bad. Maybe they mean she's descriptive, she's very
And no
descriptive.
excitement? I was so
No, it was yeah,
invested.
it's like kids killing each other, so I
There
don't
were
know.
there were lots of 1 stars for that alone.
Yeah, I'm like, "How much more excitement do you want?"
Okay, that's all for Hunger
Okay,
Games.
respectfully disagree. Okay, Hannah's next one. Falling in love with my vampire cat. I I had to pick this one.
Oh no.
If I could give this 0 stars, I would. I absolutely hated this book. The entire thing was just the MC having a giant pity party and everyone around her catering to it. Homegirl had no real issues, so why she felt the need to be so insecure, constantly put herself down and act like everything in her life is a giant poop show is beyond me. If you like weak, whiny, crybaby MCs, then this book is for you.
Oh man. I don't know what to say other than, I mean, like mental illness.
For the main character of this reviewer.
The no the main character. The main
Oh.
the main character is like very neurodivergent.
Okay,
And
okay.
so I think it's funny that it
Yeah,
would,
that's the whole point, yeah.
yeah, that I can see what they're saying, but I, I mean someone's gonna be offended by that because yikes. Also, I feel like for all of my favorite books, I'm like, I said I loved it. I didn't say it was great. The next one I picked is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. Review number one. Absolutely effing not. That's it.
Okay.
Next one. Should have stayed dead. Next. I should have quit this one when she called coffee Zoom Zoom juice and there was a character named Seaborn.
That's funny. I don't
Ne-
remember that. But I should have probably DNF'd it too if I paid attention.
to quote Danny Glover, I'm getting too old for this. Beep.
Oh,
Next. She refers to coffee as Zoom Zoom juice and the main character as a chaotic gremlin. Do you recall any of these moments?
no, none of them.
Well, there are lots saying about this coffee, and I told Josh, I was like, I am just gonna be calling coffee Zoom Zoom juice
I
now.
feel like if it happened more than once, I would have noticed it, but I don't
So many
know.
though, so many said this.
But you know
That,
what? She's the same lady that did the minty eyes, so I believe it. And
but
maybe
you
I just,
liked this.
yeah, I like this one, but I believe it. Like, I trust these people.
Oh
I
no.
now redact my, I don't know, I'd have to go back and look at my
We made
thoughts on
Hillary
this. Yeah,
question the
because,
5 star.
well, the novel love story and then these, I'm like, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
probably, it was probably dumb. Okay, the next book. Okay, this one is actually not a 1-star review. This one's a 2-star because I think, if I remember correctly, this book did not have any 1 stars. So take that for what it is. This is Say You Mean It by Megan Reinking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to say her name. Okay, this is a 2-star review. I enjoyed the setting and the mental health representation, but in general, most of the conflict was resolved in a really convenient way that generally felt unearned. One of my biggest bookish pet peeves. Maybe just not the right book for me. And she
Hmm.
said 2.5 stars. That was I think the worst review on this book.
That says a lot though. I
Yeah,
mean, I liked that book a lot, and I thought that was a book that I would say felt sad like throughout it because you're dealing with a lot of depression. And I mean, I don't know. I didn't think that I don't necessarily agree fully because I did not feel that way. I did not feel like it was quickly resolved. I felt like she was like dealing with depression the whole book and I was like, "Oh my goodness, like you just want a win for this lady." But I mean, if
I
that's
thought
the
it was
worst,
funny. I haven't read this book, but I'm like, do you want the conflict to resolve in an inconvenient way? But I don't know. I
huh?
haven't read this, so maybe this is on my list to read though.
I
But
like it.
this review did not make me not want to read the book.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the worst you're gonna say, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, Drowning by TJ Newman. This is by far the dumbest book I've ever read. Drowning was a book I had high hopes for, especially with its intriguing title and premise. However, my experience with it is akin to, well, drowning in boredom.
What? There's no way. You're lying.
And lastly, boring, boring, boring. Don't read this boring, boring.
They were probably just scared and embarrassed to say that. They're like, I'm so scared. I can't say it though. I stay on board.
That's it.
Yeah, they're bored. I mean, they're scared because that's why they're saying they're bored. There's no way. There's no way you're bored. Okay, the next one. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. 1 star. Huh? This was so boring and the end was so ridiculous. Is this one of those things where boring, straight, cis white men do drugs because they're terrible authors? This book was so repetitive that it had me confused for no real reason at times. It wasn't offensive, which is great, so I hope you enjoy it if you decide to read. I definitely was anticipating this book for a while. I was effing twiddling my thumbs the whole time. Side note, I also have no desire to move, so twinsies. That's it.
Wow. I don't. And not only did she insult the book, also insult the author.
Straight, boring white men.
I loved that book. And you know what? The ending was wild, but what do you expect? This is a thriller. Like, get out of here.
As someone who is married to a straight cis white man, they're great.
Did you say boring?
No. I also don't know that Riley Sager is straight.
You don't?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know why anybody's making these assumptions. Like,
Yeah, she's
let
just
him let him
angry
write his
person.
book.
Yeah.
Sheesh. All right. Next, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Okay. New half year resolution. I need to stop taking book recommendations from Book Talk. Next, I need y'all to start having some standards for the books y'all read. And lastly, you guys live in Delulu land. If you think this book is good, I'm not sorry.
I mean, I don't know.
Do you?
I
There were
I
so
will
many hateful comments on this book.
I don't see why 1 star. I feel like I loved it. Like the first time I read it, I loved it. Now looking back, I think about it and I'm like, was that like the best book I've ever read? No. Like, is it the best written? No. Is it the most unique? No. Now I see like there are a lot of other books with the same plot. But and does it have too many like spicy scenes? Yes. But it still was fun. Like, so I don't know. It was a lot of fun.
There's a lot of hateful people. I also think that some people, and no one's gonna admit to this, I feel like some people just want to be a hater. Like
Yeah.
they like want to be like contrarian. Like ACOTAR is so popular, and I'm not like the other girls, and I hate it. Like I don't know. I'm just gonna
Isn't that
offend.
called like a trend? Not that girl or something like that.
Oh man, I don't know. And I'm not saying you can't dislike popular books because, as you know, we do. But I'm like, I think if you like it, you like it, whether it's popular or not. But I feel like some people go out of their way to just be like, you know, nasty.
Okay, my next book for you is The Scarlet Veil by Shelby Maharin. This was so very, very bad. Celie, is that her name?
Yeah.
Celie is not smart. So many of the romantic moments between her and Michael were straight up humiliating. I got so much secondhand embarrassment. Also, this referenced so many things really obviously. Aside from ACOTAR, there's an entire segment lifted from Pirates of the Caribbean, some very obvious Crimson Peak moments, and my personal favorite, a line from Shrek. I'm happy to say I'll not be reading on.
What? Shrek? They didn't say? I'm like, I need
No,
citations for every
no, they
single
didn't
thing.
claim any of them, like say what is what. I'm like, what's from Shrek? I need to know.
And what's from ACOTAR? And what's from Pirates of the
I don't
Caribbean?
know. I don't
I
know.
will say
I was
Sealy,
hoping you would know.
no, I have no idea. Sealy was Yes, I think for me that was part of her growth. Like she starts as that for sure. I think like she starts off where the whole previous series, you're like she's weak, she's just like the yes girl, who's like innocent and all this. And like she grows so much. And I don't know, I'm mad.
I have a stop. Okay. Um, I had a question. Is this series related to Serpent and Dove?
Yes.
What the heck?
No,
Because
you
like
don't
some of
have.
my Run Star reviews were like, "Oh, the characters from Serpent and Dove," and I was like, "What?"
Yes, it is a spin-off from that. You don't have to read those, but yes. She
Oh,
she is from that series.
I blowing my mind. Well, then I have to finish that series. Then that's what my goal then is to be go back and finish that series. Well, one
Okay.
of the one-star reviews referred to that, and I was like, "Wait, I need I need more information on this."
It is, yeah.
Okay, the next book I have is Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I have a couple. Okay, the first one, 1 star. I'd probably like this book if I was 13, but the fact that grown adults love this book is mind-blowing. If you like actual fantasy that expands your mind, then read at your own risk. Um, she says, "It's so absolutely terrible that I can't believe how many people like it. I would give it 0 stars if possible. The writing is like a 12-year-old boy attempts to make a girl into a heroine," which she spelled heroin incorrectly, by the way, like the drug, "and
Uh,
oscillates between seeing her as a helpless, whiny victim and someone with great strength. It's so poorly executed, I feel like I lost intelligence by reading the words." Even I even read the 2nd book and have a few chapters into the 3rd thinking she
why?
missed something. Nope, it just gets worse, and I finally gave up. So she read all of the books,
I'm like,
basically.
you did lose intelligence.
Yeah, you've done I'm like, "You started that way, keep going." And then the other person said 2 stars. "I really enjoyed the first 30% of the book, but the second half became it took a major plunge down to unbearable. The FMC started off strong, independent, and smart, and it managed to become one of the top 3 worst FMC I have ever encountered, made beyond stupid and frustrating decisions that caused lots of death. So not even just annoying, but genuinely just a bad person. She was
Mm.
rude to everyone in her life, and it just felt like being in the mind of someone having an emotional breakdown, especially since the book only being in the first person. Ending was confusing and weird. Just ruined the book and won't be continuing this."
Hmm.
I'm not sure if all the raving reviews on social media are real. I really can't understand how anyone could love this book. I will go ahead and say that some of them are real because I loved this series. Um,
Yeah, there's so many
I was
people who love it. Like
one
that I
one,
know.
I did not screenshot this one, but I did agree with someone gave it 1 star, and they're like, "I'm so tired of the word fight." And
Yeah,
I was like,
yes, yes.
"Okay, that was funny." I was like, "I
Okay,
agree with
the
that."
first review is just they just need to go take a nap. The second review had some valid points. I do agree that DM
They were saying, yeah, that she was annoying.
DM is annoying and DM is frustrating and she does make a lot of dumb decisions. And so, I mean, yeah, but
Yes.
and as far as fantasy written by a 12-year-old, that's ridiculous. Like I felt like this was a fantasy that actually the first book I don't think focused a lot on romance in general. Like it was a lot of world building. And then they want to say she's having a mental breakdown. Actually, she had a lot of reasons to have a mental breakdown, but I digress.
Yes, a lot of bad happens, a
Yeah.
lot.
But yes, she is annoying. I mean,
She does make bad decisions, and she is
uh,
kind, or I don't want to say kind, but she's, like, doesn't want
she's like
to harm
too
anybody. Yes,
soft-hearted.
to where you're like, "Hey, go kill him." But,
Yeah.
uh, anyway, I thought those were interesting, so yeah.
Okay, next. A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget, how do you say? Kemmerer?
Kemmerer, yeah,
Kemmerer.
Kemmerer.
Okay. I can't believe this is allowed to be published. Every part of it was absolutely bloody awful. Oh my God. The best thing in this book was the description of the clothes, and even that sucked. The glaring plot holes, the sappy, unrealistic dialogues, they made me cringe so bad. But my biggest problem in this book is the sentence structure. Stop breaking what should have been normal paragraphs into single sentences. 4.23 stars. Seriously, good read? Are you kidding me? Sorry, I just found out everyone is literally. Oh, so she came back. So she came back and added this. Sorry, I just found out everyone is literally head over heels in love with this book. I'm losing my mind. I still hate this though.
Is that the only one?
I mean, the other one is the
I'm
other one
like,
says, I'm on the verge of breaking up with YA fantasy after this book. That's it.
this is the Beauty and the Beast retelling. I have not brought this to, I mean, I read it so long ago, I would not bring it to the show unless it was like in a deeper dive thing. But yeah, this is, Hannah knows, this is one of my favorite books of all
Yeah.
time. Like, I am quick to recommend this to anybody. Um, I will say, there's no, I don't know if it's, I would call, see, this drives me insane about the romance world. Forgive me about the closed door, open door, fade to black. I don't know, guys. That's just, I don't like it. I'll be honest with you. To me, it's closed door, open door. This is closed door. I don't remember if there's any spice. I don't think so. Nothing on page. That is for sure.
Yeah.
And
It
apparently
is.
that's a big fighting thing for people right now.
Yeah.
And the characters are like,
I
I
liked
wanna
it.
I wanna
They're
say
young.
the
They're
girl is like
young.
17, maybe
Yeah.
18,
Yeah, I think so.
maybe 18.
I think she's 18.
Yeah, but like young. They're very
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, she's young. I mean, I liked the book. I read all of them. Yeah. I don't. Oh.
The first book is like my one of my all-time. I think I listed that on my Instagram as
Hmm.
like top 10 books of all time. Yes, I've bought this book for so many people. I don't think anyone has loved it as much as I have, but I don't care. I love that book. Okay, I'm next, I guess. Here we go. Hannah did A Curse So Dark, so I'm doing Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying
No.
Ordeal of Being in Love by Is This Self-Care? 1 star. Snoozing. At least there's pretty fan art. This is for the people that enjoy fluff and extreme slow burn. I need more spice.
Is that all?
That's the end of that one.
Because
Next review.
that is accurate. We'll come back to that.
Did you think it was boring? You did
Oh,
not, right? I mean, you loved
no,
it.
I did say it was super slow. It was very slow burn. I agree with that. And
Is it
yeah,
slow
fluff.
paced? Slow paced?
I would say it's slow paced a lot in the beginning.
Interesting.
I would say a lot, but it's long. I want to say this book was
Hmm.
like what, I don't know, 600 pages or something, if not
This
more.
one by Megan says 2.5. What a snooze fest. I know people love this book, but my lord, it was boring and entirely too long. It
Mm.
was a glacial pace slow burn, and the action character interactions weren't interesting enough for it to be worth it at the end. There's a wild amount of telling not showing, the dialogue seems stuffy, words that literally no one uses in everyday conversation, let alone even knows in the first place. I often felt like I was reading a historical romance novel, not a Hermione fanfic or something in the Harry Potter world, which I didn't really like. There were some cute parts and the writing was good, which is funny. After all that, she just like the dialogue seems stuffy, but the writing was good. This just wasn't it. And then another person said, this is the last one for this one. This one started out strong. I enjoyed the banter, actually laughed out loud at times, and I don't mind a slow burn, but OMG, this slow burn was too long. I lost interest at 75% in DNF. Also, the language was way too formal and from a different era. It was annoying to read in the end. So much of the word shan't or shan't. That's it.
Wow. I mean, it is very, very slow burn. So I agree with that, but I love it. Like I felt like there's so much tension, guys. Like I think if you're not like internally yelling like, okay, just kiss already, or like, just be together already, then I think it's too fast. So I love this. And also, I thought it made sense for Draco and Hermione. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like, if you know all of their past, then to me, it makes sense that it would have to be glacial paced because
Yeah,
there's like, there's a lot of
it's not
hatred
like
there.
Ron.
No, there's a lot of trauma and yeah, a lot of bad decisions and a lot of like forgiveness and like it takes a long time, okay, people? Anyway, yeah, so I agree with a lot of those comments. I do think it's slow. I can see how they would think the pacing was slow in general because it is slow.
But you didn't think it was boring.
No, I really liked it. I'm like, well, poo poo on you. Or what does Madeline Madeline say? Okay.
Oh, Madeline?
Yeah, Madeline.
Yeah, poo poo.
Okay, next is Daisy Jones and the Six
Is
by
this by Hannah? By
by
me.
me. No. Okay. I would rather read Twilight or a Colleen Hoover book, but then I remember they are just as bad as this. All the hype for this was so boring, I didn't even finish it. Yikes. And
I love Twilight
I
too.
thought that was funny that they said they didn't even finish it. I'm like,
I'm like, don't threaten me with a good time. I love Twilight.
next review says, "Don't do drugs, kids." And
Yeah, I see that one, yeah.
the last review says, "Me, the things I hate most in the world are drugs, negligent parents, cheats, and statutory/regular rapists. Also me. Let me just pick up Daisy Jones and the Six and see what happens. This one is on me, friends. Audiobook note, this was great." So they liked the audio performance,
Yeah.
which I feel like I personally, that could be my thoughts there. Yeah.
I don't feel like there's rape in this book. I know, I think there's a comment of how in the 60s and 70s that like the band would sleep with high school girls. I think there was a comment on that.
Ugh, I
I
don't,
love this book. I loved it. Yeah.
yep,
But yeah, there's a lot of drugs and a lot of people making really bad decisions. So yeah, if that bothers you, then yeah, not a book for you. I know this was a book. I love this book. This is one of the books that I loved and Hannah did not love at all.
yeah. All right, next.
This is my last one. Okay, so I just went a whole different direction on this one. So this is Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. This is a Christmas book. And I love this one too, for a disclaimer. But this is like, I think, my favorite Christmas book of all time. Spoiler for the coming season.
Mm-hmm.
1 star. I tried really hard to love this book because I know a lot of people do, but it was honestly just so boring to me. I felt like it put me in a reading slump and I just did not see the chemistry between the two. And then the other person says, "Effing boring book. Their friendship have no chemistry. It even seems that they are not even that close friends. They as a couple have no chemistry at all. I didn't connect with the characters or the story. The protagonist is boring and the MMC is boring. Their friendship and romance were not well built. I had the feeling that something was missing. I wasn't convinced of the friendship or the romance. The characters are bland. The book as a whole is bland. I don't know why I didn't DNF. Bonus points to Christian, who deserves his own book, as he is sexy AF. The the guy only appeared for 2 seconds in the book, was more interesting than the two main characters. I really want to go see what this girl thought of Christian's book.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't
I did
good.
not. Yeah, that's it. I disagree completely with this lady.
This
I thought it
lady.
was, yeah, Petrie. It's Petra. I'm sorry. I'm like personally attacking. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
it's such a good book. I feel like Catherine Walsh, she like put so much color and personality in her characters and in her books. So I find that wild that like she really made a point that like, oh, everything was boring. This one, that one, bland. Like I think that's so bizarre. I really like this book a lot, and his family reminds me of like Ron Weasley and the Weasley family, and
Yes, I can see that a lot.
majorly so. And so, rude. It wasn't even that rude. I disagree.
I'm trying to look up on this lady's profile if she has read the other one.
Yeah, and you're like, what do you like? That's what I like to see too.
I see right now almost everything is like 2 stars.
Yeah, so see, you don't like anything. That's a you problem. So fix that first, Petrie. Or Petra, sorry. Hillary
I
messed me up.
told you.
Okay, next one. And I thought this would be a good place to end because I feel like sometimes like authors can seem to get really down about reviews or like the low reviews and this and that. I think it's important to know that even Pride and Prejudice has a lot of really low ratings. So I thought this would be fun to end here. Hillary rated this 5 stars. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Jesus Christ, just have sex already. P to the double O P.
What?
I should have did that one last because I can't. Why? Okay. First things first. This book is dull as all hell. It made me want to take a nap every time I had to read it. Simple and short chapters took me a long time to complete because they were either so dull or I kept having to read parts over and over again because I kept losing my focus. Second of all caps, this book made no sense. It's just a bunch of balls and people being pushed to get married. Yes, yes, I know it was the times, but still. Third, the romance was super dull. Fourth, I just did not like this novel. I feel like I did not rate this book 1 star. I did not rate it 1 star. But
Yeah, I'm
that
like, you're like, yes,
but
yes.
that review is not that far off.
That it was
She
boring,
Yes,
dull.
she that it was yeah, dull or that you keep losing your focus. I'm like, "Yes, okay." And then the balls, that was the sign of the times. I'm like, "Yes, lady." I'm like, "What do you
Okay, when you
expect?"
read that, you said this book was full of balls. And I was like, no, this book is not like that.
Not that kind of ball. Okay, but she did say, like, God bless. She said she had to read it for school. And so she's like, if I could have DNF'd, I would have,
Yeah.
but I had to finish it. So I did. I was like, well, she was not hateful. And I personally, I think she has some valid
I mean,
points.
I get it. It's a classic. It is dense. It is very wordy, I think, for
Mm.
what, like compared to our attention, like what we're used to right now. So I feel that. I felt similarly about Jane Eyre.
Ugh.
I It wasn't the wording, it was the characters. Like I didn't like that book at all. Uh I read Jane Austen, I was like, I like this lady. I like how she writes. She was such like a feminist, like a true feminist, forgive me, not like what we would call a feminist today, which I don't think is a feminist. But uh, Jane Eyre is no good. No good. That's my 1 star review. Um, but I get it. Not everyone likes it. That's fine. But I I don't know. I just think it's like the best love story of
See, I don't agree
I
with
love
that at
it.
all. I think that it's like literature. And I think the feminism in the book and like just the whole her writing that story, I think it made a lot of sense and the the purpose of it and that I love it. But as far as like a romance, I just personally do not. I do not feel like this book is romantic. I do not think any of the characters are romantic. The movie, yes, but the book, I was like, I enjoy it as like a literary, like historical fiction. Okay, fine, sure. Um, but I, as a romance, no. And that's probably just my personality. I'm like, there is no, I just did not feel any like chemistry, and I'm sorry. That's it. I'm like, canceled. I'm canceled. I'm done. I'm sorry.
It's because I think it's because you don't like that type of person, of guy as much.
I don't know.
That's my
I
that's
didn't
my
I
suspicion.
mean, I guess like his love, and if you like say romance, then I would say it was in his actions. I did not feel like any
I do
chemistry.
agree though. I agree. I think the movie really brought the book to life for
Mhm.
sure. For like I also struggle sometimes with classic literature, like just like Lord of the Rings. Like that is
Mhm.
another dense book that you really have to like
Mhm.
you're devoting some attention and focus and the wording is just, a little outdated for us right now.
Mhm.
Um but if you really like sink in, it's a beautiful story. But I think the movies on both of those situations
For
really
sure.
like bring it to life. Like they did a really good job where you're like, yes, they
Mhm.
did it justice. I mean, I know some people are like, "How dare you? We're gonna riot," but I think they did.
I did
So,
too.
yeah, so see, that was fine. I was like,
And
hopefully
something
Hannah
what?
I was gonna say, hopefully Hannah won't be too offended over these,
I
but they
didn't
were
write
fine.
them. I didn't write these books. That's fine.
I
And
know. Hannah and I talked about that too. We're like, hopefully no authors listen to this and are sad, but I'm sure you've looked at these reviews
And
already.
here's the thing, yeah, here's the thing too. Everybody has opinions, and we are all entitled to the wrong opinions. And I told Hillary too. I said, I think, and here we go. I am opening the door to get attacked a lot this week. I think the one-star reviews, a lot of times they are not well thought out or like well explained. Like I think that they're nonsense, like just bunch of yapping nonsense most of the time because I don't know, either they didn't finish it or they're just like on a rant. So I would not be too offended by one stars because they seem like they're having a bad day.
Well, like the accounts exist, like the one-star review accounts exist now,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
they are really funny. I will be the first person to say, like, they're funny. But, like, you have to take them with a grain of salt. Like, they're funny,
Mhm.
but that's why we tried to include several sometimes of like funny, but then like something that you also had a point to.
Yeah.
So, also, I will say this also, what I noticed was a lot of them, there was one of them I was looking for Hannah's and I couldn't find one because all the one stars were like DNF, DNF, I DNF,
Mhm.
30% DNF, 20% DNF, DNF'd after a few pages. Like, it's so dumb. And I just didn't feel like that's a just argument to be like, unless, not always, there are sometimes I think it is valid, like DNF, you had a good reason, or you're like, someone killed themselves, DNF. I get that. That's why I like Storygraph because it allows you to say something like that and not contribute to the overall rating of the book.
Mhm.
So you could see that someone said that, you're like, oh, well, I don't want to read about suicide. I'm not going to read this book.
Yeah.
But without, maybe rating the book badly, where Goodreads does that. So, anyway, that's a topic for another day about Goodreads and stuff. But we tried to not just throw in a bunch of like DNF books.
Yeah. Me, the purist. I was like, I want people who actually read it all. Because again, I just feel like I value that opinion a little bit more. I also think it's interesting how people are like, oh, like a lot of mine are romances, and they're like, no chemistry. And it's funny whenever you think something is so romantic and other people are like, nothing. And you're like, wow, what is there something wrong with me? Like I'm like,
Yeah, a lot of
what?
them are like "You're an idiot if you like this." And I'm like, "I don't need you to tell me I'm an idiot. I already think I'm an idiot." So I
The ones you picked for mine, they were all, I feel like all of them were like boring, boring. And I'm like, do I like boring books? It sounds like I do. I don't know.
yeah, maybe.
Okay, well, that's all.
And goodbye. If you've made it this far and didn't add this episode to your DNF pile, thanks a bunch.
That brings us to the end of this week's episode for the Don't You Two Read podcast. We hope you enjoyed hearing about our recently read books and hopefully getting to know us better as we begin this podcast journey with you guys.
We will be including timestamps in the description on every episode so you can check there for books or products that we mentioned in today's episode.
Be sure to tune in to our next episode when we will be chatting about all things books. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Don't You Two Read Podcast, and you can find me at Hannah Reads.
And I'm at Hilary Reads. If you enjoyed today's episode, would you take a moment to follow us? You can also rate and review us wherever you listen. And as always, please share this with all of your bookish friends.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, we hope you have a magical week filled with 5-star reads.